Today, we have on a head coach who has entered into his 10th season as the leader of the Nicholls State. It's Nicholls, right?
Nicholls State.
Nicholls, okay.
Yeah.
Today, we have on a head coach who has entered into his 10th season as the leader of Nicholls State. In 2019, his team was exceptional on the mound. They ranked second in overall ERA and third in opposing batting average. And in 2014 and 2015, the Colonels pitching staff ranked in the top 10 of D1 ERA and topped the league in ERA for 30 consecutive weeks. As you can tell, they recruit pitchers and develop pitchers. In fact, 3 pitchers, Grant Bourne, Stuart Holmes, and Ryan Dims, were all selected to the MLB draft. That's just a few of the pitchers that have been selected to the MLB draft from his staff. And in the last 8 years, more than 20 players have been drafted, with more than half being position players. With that being said, they have recruited and developed players such as Christian Correa, Cole Stapler, and the list goes on. And to continue his accolades, he has had 2 Conference Pitchers of the Year and 2 All-Americans, and was the Coach of the Year in 2013. As a player, he played 2 seasons at LSU and played a brief time professionally. As a head coach, he is known to be a hardworking, a player's head coach, and a coach that himself gets his players drafted and or receive degrees. In fact, 78 of his players have received degrees from Nicholls State. He is also known to be an elite recruiter. Some of his recruited classes have been nationally ranked by Baseball America, and since the time that I have known him, he has been a very upstanding guy. Welcome to the show, head coach Seth Thibodeaux of Nicholls State.
Thank you so much, Jermaine, for having me on.
I appreciate it.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Did I say it right? I've been, messing around how I can say it, right? Thibodeaux, is it?
It's actually Thibodeaux, but it can be confused. You guys are a little closer to Canada up there. It can be confused like Tom Thibodeau, the basketball coach in the NBA. So it can be confused, but down in South Louisiana, it's Thibodeaux.
Okay, my apologies. I apologize about that.
Okay.
All right, so let's start with your story, a quick little background about, your whole story, and then we'll go into talk about your season and your team.
Yeah, so I knew I was going to be a baseball coach for a long time. I actually thought at one point in my life I was going to be a football coach. But anyway, I was able to play a little college baseball. Played professional baseball for a very short time with an independent organization, and then finished up my degree. And I really was ready coaching after an injury ended my career. But I was able to start coaching at a community college in Mississippi, and we were ranked number 1 in the country for the 2 years I was there. We're probably, anywhere from we won 100 games in 2 years and only lost 20. So it was like right away I was into winning and didn't even realize, maybe that wasn't really a huge part of that, but I just, I didn't know any other way. So I got spoiled really quick and went immediately, offered a few jobs, but ended up at Southeastern Louisiana University. As an assistant coach there after 2 years at Pearl River. And then, a couple of years later, I was offered a recruiting coordinator job at Nicholls State University, in which I accepted. And a couple of years later, I was the head coach there. So, and I've been here ever since. It's been extremely hard to leave because I have 2 little girls and a wife with a really good job here. And it's a really neat way of life. It's a very simple way of life here. And it's so easy and a wonderful place to raise kids. And so there's been opportunities to maybe move around or venture around, but I'm really not a mover. I'm more of a guy that likes to try to stay in one place, and that's why I've done what I've done here. And it's been a treat and an honor to be the head coach of Nicholls. I'm so proud and appreciative of the opportunity. And, we took over a tough program when we started 10 years ago. It may not have been one of the better programs in the country in many aspects, mainly academically, financially, and we've rebuilt the entire stadium. We've revamped the entire program, and now we're one of the best academic progression rate programs in our conference and in the top half of the country. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the guys that have graduated, and we continue to move. This year was really difficult. We had a team that can compete for a conference championship, and we could really, really pitch, like last year and like in years past. This was a really good pitching staff. And what's exciting is they're all back next year, and we've added more to it. So I feel like we'll be a top 10 pitching staff in the country next year. But I think athletically we might have a chance to have one of the best teams we've had here. So We're excited about it. We're not going to doom and gloom. I know this impacts everyone, but we're finally making the best of it. Like I told our team, we'll have 2 years to prepare for a championship run, and our guys are really excited. We have a great group of guys. We just graduated. Today is graduation, and we're graduating 8 more players, and a couple of which will be back to play with us next year. And I'm really happy for those guys, and I'm proud that look. This is a tough situation for all, but college baseball doesn't redshirt guys enough anymore. And so maybe this is a good thing for everyone. Maturity, guys are not rushing through college. Maybe we started to get on this fast track of getting through college in 3.5 years, and we're really not ready. Not everyone's ready for the world after 3.5, 4 years. Maybe that extra year of growth is important. And so I'm proud of that, and I'm looking forward to seeing the fruits of what we thought may be a terrible thing that happened. Maybe it will positively impact, young men in a few years. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about our team, and I'm excited to be on with you today, and I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I want to say congrats, you being there for so long and being consistent. And from what I've read and doing a little research, you're going to be one of the, top coaches in their history as far as baseball. And I just want to say congrats, and you're doing, a lot of good work. I mean, I don't have to tell you that, you already know, but, I've seen how they were rebuilded, and you're turning that into a nationally known organization. So the next question I want to ask you is, do you guys have a motto or a slogan? At UCLA, we had, like, be relentless, take responsibility. Is there like anything that you guys, as your program, that you guys talk about that keeps everyone on the same page, and it keeps it, just keeps everybody on the same page?
Yeah, I think that relentless is a word we use quite a bit. We have some core values that we really, really focus on and stress, and just those things are extremely important to us. We have some standards that we set for ourselves as a program that are extremely important to us. And we have a playbook that we share with our players to make sure they understand. We're always on the same page. We share the same lingo. But I can share those core values with you. I think that I want our players to know them, to be able to say them in front of everyone, in front of the entire team. We have them when you walk into our clubhouse, and we live by them. So no matter what, this is who we are. If we win 15 games in a row, this is who we are. If we lose 15 games in a row, this is who we are. So, but number one is honesty. Number two is use great judgment. Number three is compete every day. Number four is be accountable. Number five is project positive energy. And number six is find a way. And I make our guys say this to each other over and over and over again, because each one means the world. Like, there's honesty thing is trust, and we have to trust each other. Using great judgment. Every day you have a chance to be disloyal. Every day you have a chance to break the code, break the standard of excellence that we're trying to uphold and be, and hold ourselves to those standards. So you have to choose. Do you want to be a regular student, or do you want to be an elite Division I athlete? What are you trying to accomplish? The number three was compete every day, but that's at everything. Like, we have a ping pong table in our locker room, and like, get after it. Compete to be the first one to field. Compete to, be the best student. Like, we had a 3.2 GPA again this semester, and I'm so proud of that, because we had guys scattered all over the place. And for them to be able to do that, that's competing and making sure they use great judgment, right? And it's awesome. So, and they held themselves accountable, which is number four for us. But they hold each other accountable, and I really like that. And it's a culture thing too, right? Project positive energy. I'm not a doom and gloom guy. I just like positive. I like energy. I like finding a way, which was number six for us. But I just don't like a loser's limp, or a bad attitude, or a shoulder shrug, or bad body language. I don't think that's fun. And so We're playing baseball. We're coaching baseball. I don't look at it as a job. It to be exciting. And I always tell our guys, if I am running a Fortune 500 company, and I see you moping around, or you're mad because something didn't go your way, and you show it with your body language, why am I going to hire you? What are you trying to accomplish by doing that? Bring all the attention to yourself, or What are you trying to show? And so, and I've got to do it as well. I've got to do all these things as well. My coaches have to do them as well. Strength coaches, training room, all of them, everyone in the organization matters from top to bottom. And we just live by those and stick to them and try to recruit to that. We share that with recruits. And if this is not something you fall in love with when you're here, don't come here, because I don't like the transfer thing. I want you here for the longevity, and I want you to come here and make it better than it was when you got it, and be loyal to the system. And if you don't like it, it's okay. Like, we'll go find another player. There's players everywhere. But if you love it, then you're going to absolutely fall in love with everything about it. And so when we live by it every day.
I love that. Now let's talk about your hitting philosophy and pitching philosophy when it comes to your team.
Well, offensively, I like to apply pressure. I love the 3-run homer. Don't get me wrong. I like to bang that baseball around. But the ballpark that I coach in is not built for that. And so we're a spacious ballpark. I have done some things, in the last few years to change that a little bit. I love left-handed hitters, so trying to get really physical from the left side. And we brought in the fences from 330 down the right field line and a 10-foot wall into 310 feet down the right field line and a 4-foot wall. And we have a berm back there. Our students get it back there and grill out. And so it's a really cool atmosphere, but the wind blows from left to right or sometimes straight in. So very seldom do you get a wind that blows straight out. So a right-handed hitter will not hit as many homers here, but a lefty will. But honestly, I came up in the running game. I love to run. We were on pace to do some big-time things this year, of course. Everyone can say that, but we could absolutely fly, and we hadn't gotten there yet. So our offensive philosophy is to apply pressure, but I'm going to go to our player strengths more than anything. And if a guy's not a runner or one of those guys that slaps the ball around, I'm not going to make him do it. You just can't change that. I think that's a bad coaching thing that maybe I've done in the past. But I like speed, and I like versatility. And next year we'll probably have 6 or 7 lefties in our lineup, which I'm excited about. And probably 6 of the 9 can really, really run and steal some bags. So, the sky's the limit for us next year. I'm excited about that. But that's really what I'm leaning towards. And offensively, it's apply pressure. It's get it down. It's move it around. It's especially if you can pitch the way we can and the way that we will next year. We got to be good at winning that 1-run game, getting that ball in the dirt, or getting from first to third on a base hit, or scoring from second on a base hit because you have a great secondary, or being able to push bunt a run in from third base. Just those detailed things that I think are extremely important. It's things that we really, really harp on and focus on. And just being the full package, the complete package. Then sometimes your numbers don't look what you really are. And so we're just playing, look, it's all about trying to win the baseball game. So we're going to do whatever it takes. And with knowing what we can do on the mound next year, fighting to get to 3 or 4 runs a game is really going to be the goal. And so whatever it takes to get there. And then I guess defensively, pitching-wise, we are a pitch-to-contact team. I like defense a lot. I just really, really enjoy team defense. I think it wins championships. You mentioned UCLA. I mean, I have the utmost respect for the head coach there, and I felt like they've always pitched and played defense with the best of them. And I've always had just an immense amount of respect for what he does there. But those teams in the West Coast do that, man. I really, really, really love that about them. And we were come up in an era when I was a kid coming through high school of guerrilla ball where, the SEC and LSU and Alabama were hitting 100 homers a year. And those days have stopped. Which is good because it's real. This is real baseball. Those bats were crazy. But that's me. That's a coach talking, right? I think fans probably want to see that ball fly out of the yard, and sometimes as a coach you do too, and it's on your team. But no, I defensively, it's pitch to contact. I want 2 of the first 3 pitches thrown for strikes. I want our pitchers to have a mentality, like I tell them all the time. Like, look, the rule is 60 in baseball is 60% of balls hit in fair territory are outs. Well, let's play those numbers, right? It's strike thrower. That's all I want. Because sometimes, look, in recruiting, I'm an hour from LSU. I'm an hour from UL Lafayette. I'm an hour from Tulane. I'm an hour from UNO. I'm an hour from Southeastern. I'm less than 2 hours away from Southern Miss. I'm less than 2 hours away from South Alabama. I'm a few hours away from Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Like, this is kind of a baseball belt. There's 9 Division I programs in my state. There's not enough people for that. Like, this is incredible. And we're all fighting for the same guys. And not to mention, that state of Texas, that thing ain't far away either. And Mississippi and Alabama and Florida are right there. So this is kind of really like baseball central, because every time we step on the field, it's against a top 25 team, especially in midweek. So it's constant. And it's a war, like no matter what. So sometimes people's records are down here kind of look like, oh, he's 500. Yeah, man, if you're 500 down here, you're getting it done, because this is a war in recruiting. It's a war on the field. But anyway, just to to kind of finish off with what I was saying of pitching, I told our guys a lot in the last couple of years, like 90% of success will come your way if you throw a strike, because hitting is hard.
Yes.
Hitting is hard. Throw a pitch 90% of the time, things are going to go your way. Especially if you're 88 to 91 with some sink and be able to cut the baseball. Look, I love hitters, but hitters are kind of, silly. They're dumb. They try to get themselves out, right? It's hard. It's hard to hit, but it's easy to throw a strike. So we're big on – look, I love defense, and I love pitching, and that's what we try to be the best we can be at.
Yeah, when you were describing your team, it reminded me of the West Coast ball. Of that, like, fast, quick, put pressure, because we would always hear stories of, the teams East that were hitting like 20 home runs. Each player were hitting 15, 20 home runs, 30 home runs, and we were like, how is that happening? And all of us on the West Coast, we were, push bunting, speeding the game up, doing all those things. So I thought it was pretty cool that you acknowledged that. Now let's flip over to when it comes to recruiting, because that's what most of the kids and the parents over here want to talk about. So when it comes to position players, what do you look for? Is there a specific checklist or criteria you go off of? Is like what makes a player stand out in your opinion?
I think body control, number one. I just look at the body right away, and I recognize how he moves, how he walks. Do his feet turn in, or they side? Those things matter in our sport because footwork is incredibly important. Does the body work? Is there body control? Does he understand his body and how to use it? Move in the direction? Is it violent or is it under control? And confidence with playing catch. I watch guys play catch all the time. I watch how guys put their uniforms on. Because look, this is an investment for us. This is not summer ball to us. And I think that's really, or travel ball to us. I think that gets really thrown around a little bit or misunderstood. Like, this is how we feed our kids. This is my industry. This is my lifestyle. And so if I'm going to select a guy and I've only got a 35-man roster, and I only have 11.7 scholarships, I can't miss. And we miss a lot. But we've got to be loyal and stick to our plan with our guys. And I hate to miss because I hate cutting people. I have no desire to sit with a young man in the office and say, listen, you got to go play somewhere else. I'm just not wired like that. I am tough and hard on our players, discipline, and I just don't want to miss on athleticism or anything like that. So we got to make sure that that's confidence in the glove, athleticism, rhythm in the body. I think arm strength is important, creativity, having some baseball IQ, just knowing where the baseball goes, knowing how to swing, all of it. But ultimately, the kid's going to tell you what you need to know by the way he wears his uniform. If his uniform's dirty at the end of those 7 innings that he just played. If he's able to, just like the first one out of the dugout when someone scores. I think that, I started doing some character tests with our players. It's like, what's your highest moment this year? What was your lowest moment? And when they start talking about, I went 3 for 4 here, or I did this, or I get really disappointed in that. And then it becomes easy to get rid of someone, because I'm a family-minded guy. I'm an organizational guy. So it's more of like, I want to hear man, when we won that tough game, we were down by 4 runs and our players just exploded out. Like, those are the things – that's college baseball to me. It's passion. It's excitement. It's everyone, not I. And the I guys get you beat. And the I guy destroys a Fortune 500 company. It's just – my dad runs a business. And if it's selfishness in the organization, it just doesn't work. There's no – so why is it any different for us? And this is – but those things are important. And but look, the character thing does matter. The parents matter. Like, I'll check a parent's social media sometimes when I have a little bit of a red flag. And if dad and mom are on social media, I get a little like, that's a red flag for me. I get out of here with that. I'm not a big fan of that. And I don't want to invest my lifestyle knowing what I have to do for my family I've got to worry about those things, or even like looking back, I think we'd go as far as looking to see if kids transfer high schools. I get a little nervous with that because, if you're going to do that, then you're going to leave me too. Where's the loyalty? I make sure it's a full-fledged deal. I think that we got to do a good job of doing it all and finding, how are the grades? Is someone talking like, what does this coach think about him? All those things are important. And we got to do it quick because we have a lot of teams around us that are going after players too. Recruiting's a cutthroat business, and it's unfortunate that it's so cutthroat and disloyal and hairy. But it's such as life. We got to adjust to it. But at the end of the day, I want 6 core values, and if you can't live by that, I don't want to coach, because I'm not in the coach for lying. I'm not in the coaching for cheating. I'm not in for this. There's so much more. Like, I'm in it because I love the game and I love players and I love teaching players. There's nothing more special than knowing that young man came to you and he still wasn't mature, but you just knew it, that he was going to accomplish great things in those 4 years. And man, when that kid gets his degree and he's a grown man now, it's a special feeling that's indescribable. And it gets me emotional sometimes knowing that he was a god-awful student when you got him, in your opinion, and the next thing you know, he's a 3.0 student in college, like, because you just had to force him to do it. So there is more to coaching than all those other things that you may see or read, but it is special, man, and that is a long answer to what do I look for, but that's why I do what I do.
I love it. And what about pitchers? What do you look for? What is there that stands out to you? I know you said a lot about position players, the way they hold themselves, their parents. But what about pitchers as far as like what opens your eyes? What makes them stand out?
Well, just as the offensive player, position player, the body, the presentation of the game. I love left-handed hitters. I love left-handed pitchers. The game is for left-handers. So I tend to go that way. We've got 7 or 8 left-handed pitchers on our staff. And they can get away with a little bit more than a righty can, right? And so you can match them up. You can do some things with lefties that you may not be able to do with righties. But I like arm strength. I like clean arm action. I like long bodies. I like the physical bodies. And the reason why I do is for 2 things. One, there's some pitchability with the bigger body. The longer body, the big physical lower half that can push off the mound is way more durable than the smaller body. And it's not a knock against smaller players. I've had plenty of shorter pitchers that have been successful, but I'll tell you this, their lifespan on the mound is not very long. It just is what it is. And I see growth in the 6'4", 220-pound pitcher that's 86 to 88. That guy's going to be 90, 92 with a nice breaking ball after that. And the body's going to work. I believe in being able to develop that guy. But also, like, no doubt strike throwers. Like, I can't – anytime I see a pitcher that's arm side high, meaning his fastball runs to the arm side, head high, you can't fix that. We don't have time to fix that. So it's got to be a strike thrower, someone who can sink the baseball, someone who can cut the baseball. I'm not always going to get, and nor will I ever get 95-mile-an-hour guys, right? They're either going in the draft or I'm fighting SEC guys for them. So what do? Sit there and complain because you put your hands over your ears and stump your feet, or you go find the next best plan? Well, we have a team full of 88 to 92 from the right and left side, that can sink it, cut it, and spin it a little bit, and they just throw a ton of strikes. And so, but that wins. I mean, I'll never forget Stony Brook going to the World Series in 2013 with a bunch of pitchers. I watched them come over here and beat LSU, and they sink the baseball into the hands of those hitters, and they cut it away from them, and they just couldn't handle that. They weren't ready for that. And so that's kind of the similar fact playing that we go on is, upper 80s righties, mid to upper 80s lefties. But I like secondary pitches, and I like guys that have a feel for a changeup and they understand how to pitch and they have a repeatable delivery.
Amazing. And let's go into another question that was just asked is, what age do you go and recruit players? You got certain organizations that recruit very young, and you got some organizations that recruit later. So, where are you guys at?
Well, for me to go in and offer a kid that's a freshman or sophomore in high school is foolish, because we're a mid-major. And look, I don't believe in it. We don't even know where that kid's going to be. The growth happens after the junior year. Sometimes the growth happens the freshman year in college. So, and if the guy's electric as a freshman or sophomore in high school or an eighth grader, holy smokes, he's tapped out in his career. We all have a peak in our careers, and there's only one Bryce Harper, right? Let's not forget that. That guy was really good when he was 15, and he's still really good, and there's one. There's not multiple. Guys shoot up after their bodies blow up, at certain times in their life, and you just have to find that. But junior year, I know when I'm watching a sophomore if he's good enough or not. You kind of know if a freshman's good enough or not. But we're talking about the elite now. We're not talking about 100 kids around the country. We're talking about 30, 40 kids maybe that you can look at as a freshman and say, oh, he's a guy, Sophomore year, into their sophomore year, you really start to know, okay, he's got a shot. Let me see if I can follow him this year. Junior year, you definitely know where the body's going. Is it staying short and wide, or is it getting long and tall? And is the hands getting stronger? And is the bat getting faster? Or is the arm speed on the mound getting better? Is he still throwing strikes? Anyways, junior year, we have 3 juniors that are committed right now, and that's good enough. Some of these schools are committing kids, which I can't stand, and I just don't stand for it. No way I can offer a kid that's 13 or 14 years old and pull his scholarship because he's not good enough when he's 17. I think that is just ludicrous. I can't stand that, and so I'll never do it. And will it drive me out of the game? It might, but you know what? I just don't want to. I don't want to coach if that's what you have to do.
Yeah, great response. Are there stats that are considered D1? Do you look at exit velocities and other metrics, and how much stock do you take in those metrics?
I don't. I know what arm speed is. I don't. Bat speed is bat speed. I can see it. I don't need an exit velocity for me to look at a kid when he's facing 90-mile-an-hour pitching or facing some velo, and he can turn it around and square it up. Why do I have to go see what the ball looked like off of his bat? I just saw it backspin off his bat. I've got my eyes for it, right? I think that's just really, really those. Sometimes you see all these things, and I think it's eyewash. It's good information for us for, if we don't know the kids, man, he's got 100-mile-an-hour. Okay, then let me see him, But if I'm just going out there and watching someone and I see him square up a baseball, I'm good with it. But if I see that kid who's got an amazing exit velo, but for some reason or another, everything's off of the handle, or he swings and misses too much. Now, what am I going to do with that? So I do look for our players with that, for our development, for our players. I love, letting them see that. From a pitching standpoint, I love Rapsodo and the information that we can share with them, spin rates, things like that. I think are important. At the end of the day, man, college baseball isn't about that. College baseball is about passion and heart and grit, and that's what I believe in. I want to see a kid that's fighting for his team to be successful, not for him to see how far he can hit it. And I think we get caught up in those numbers, and we've forgotten what baseball is. We were trying to recreate a game that was invented to perfection, right? And it was invented to perfection, and the players were always meant to not be perfect. And so what is exit velo going to do for me in the bottom of the ninth with a winning run at second base and an 0-2 count? Right? How is exit velo going to, or spin rate, going to help me beat LSU on a Tuesday night in front of 11,000 people? Like, that's not it's not going to help us. But if we go to Ole Miss and play in front of 6,000 people and their fans are screaming and yelling, you know, and it's 2-2 in the eighth inning and we need a big hit or a big pitch to get a double play ball, you know, who in the stadium is thinking about those numbers? You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I'm coaching to, and that's what I'm worried about. And so, yeah, great information because we have the capability of seeing and getting that. I think information is important just to share, but that information tells you nothing about what's in that heart, you know, and what's in between those ears of and unselfishness, and that's what I'm more concerned with.
And I just had a question that just popped up in my head, and I just want to know your answer to this. I like to tell the guys, the guys you see on here, I like to tell them that energy is a really good thing. That's how you can stand out and showcases. Do you notice that, like, good energy, and like, are you drawn to energy? Because, you know, they're like worried about, can they hit a 95, 98 mile an hour exit velo off a tee? And I'm like, hey man, there's other ways to standing out than just hitting it off a tee. You know what I mean? Like, you can have, if you're a person that has that, you know, not fake energy, but like having good energy and you're bouncing around, does that get your attention? And does that allow people to stand out?
Absolutely. If I watch someone anywhere, high school, summer, whatever it may be, and they are sprinting out to play catch, that means they love to play. I want someone that loves to play. Look, I want to coach someone that wants to play in the big leagues. Is that always going to happen? No, but I want to recruit players that have a chance to get there. And if I'm not going to be able to get that player, then I want that's going to deliver energy. And energy means it's not always like the rah-rah. It doesn't have, that's not what we're getting at. The energy is sprinting out to left field when you're in the third base dugout to play catch. And catching every baseball, throwing every baseball like it absolutely matters to you more than anything else. And you see energy in catch all the time. Energy between innings of catching every ground ball rolled to you from the first baseman and throwing like it is game-like, because that's how you get energy. Is bringing their glove to them after they got out, or if they're on the bases, you bring his glove out to his position. Energy is lifting everyone around you, and energy is enjoying those 9 innings because you only get to have 9. And you get to versus have to attitude, I think, is energy. There's so many things that energy can do, excitement, and you know what fake is. And if you have to fake in, man, you got to go play something else because baseball needs it and it requires it. And for the guy that's not a superstar.
Amazing. You hear that, James, Alan? You hear that? I've been telling you guys. As far as exposure, what do you look for when it comes to exposure? I mean, or how did they get exposure? Is it just showcases? You guys do camps, social media? Like, what is the best in your eyes?
I don't look for players in social media because I just think it's eyewash. It's hogwash. Like, I want to see a kid play. I want to meet a kid. I have a hard time. I'm going to have to trust someone that knows him, and I really have to trust that person. So to me, and I'm not speaking just for myself, I'm speaking amongst guys that I talk to a lot in this profession, Power 5, non-Power 5, mid-major, D2, 3, JUCO. Look, if a school has a camp on their campus and they invite you to go to that camp, or if you find out about it, go to that camp. Because what can happen, like, someone can come watch you play and you know they're there. It's hard to perform. You have to get over that. We all have to get over that as players. Like, I remember college and a couple came to watch me play and I was worried to death. And I was like, well, that explains to me that I'm not a good enough player, because the good players just don't even know what's up there. And I was worried about the Pirate Scout that was there to watch me. And why was I worried about that and just play, you know? So going to camps on a campus, you have a chance to let someone see you more than just 1 or 2 at-bats. You have a chance for someone to watch you and and really have a relationship with you. Somehow, some way, you can continue to impress that person, whether it be a one-day camp, a 2-day camp, whatever it may be, or multiple camps that you're able to go to. We're a marginal player, and we all need to know if we're good enough or not. Like if we're not sure, if we're not being rooted, then we got to go get ourselves out there. It's just like not having a job when you're 20. Then you need to get out there and find it, right? You got to go promote somehow. You got to get out there and get your resume ready and go get it. So at camp, go to that camp. It doesn't matter if you're a Division I player or not. What if you're a D3 or D2? Who cares? If you're NAI, JUCO, like that's the route, and you have no what comes from that in life. There's so many amazing things that happen as you play baseball. So go to a camp on a campus. Play ball. Absolutely. Play multiple sports. Work out. But social media, I would say, would be the least of my thoughts. Unless someone shared a video and said, hey, you probably need to go see this guy. I don't scroll through to find players on social media.
All right. And what about email and video? Since you don't do social media, how about the email and video?
100%. Shoot me an email. I promise you, if a kid emails me, if I don't have time to respond to him personally, because I was that guy when I was a player, I had to go out and try to shoot this coach an email. Coach, are you interested? What can I do? What am I going to say? No? Who cares? I'm not that guy. When I get an email, I have a soft heart, man, trying to make a way, because I believe in that kid, because he's doing it on his own. He's got to find a way. That's part of our core value. So I believe in giving him the respect of an email in return and letting him know, listen, there's nothing there. Look, this is all I can offer you this time is to come to camp. We'll be looking, whatever it may be. Or it might be, hey, let's stay in touch. Send me some video. I want to see your swing. And if I see that video and I like it, I'm like, all right, send me a few more. Okay, then I'll start following him more. And if I'm intrigued by what he does, just because it doesn't fit at UCLA doesn't mean it doesn't fit at South Carolina or Nicholls or LSU or whatever it may be. Everyone has a need and a fit. And so just at one place, it may work at another. Yes, email and video, 100%. I mean, especially now, we're not going to be able to recruit for another 2 months. And we're not going to have visits. We may not have camps during those times. Man, get on video now and eat it up. This is going to level the playing field for players, because coaches are going to be looking for something. And we may not recruit again for a while. So having video is really pretty important right now to email coaches. I think that is huge.
That is great insight. Let me go back a little bit, because you said to assess yourself. How would you assess your skills? And what would you recommend? Do you recommend going to maybe 2 or 3 showcases first to see where you stand? Or how would you know to where you're at before you can go and go to a top college or whatever? Sure.
I would definitely, we have to know, from personally, as a player and a coach, I was a trial and error. And I think all of us are, to a certain extent, of go see what's wrong with it, right? It's not going to be rosy in baseball. Remember, successful guys in our industry hit 290. We're excited when someone has a 4 ERA. Well, that's not any good, to be honest with you, but at the same time, it can be very successful. But remember to tell you that you can't do it in this sport. And someone's going to tell you that you're not quite fast enough. And someone's going to tell you that you need to get in the weight room, that you're out of shape, that your body is not right, that you're too big. Someone in our sport finds something wrong with it. Well, go find out what that is and correct it. Man, you got slow feet, get a jump rope, right? Man, your feet are slow. Get a ladder and do ladder work and squat and work out. Man, you're weak. Find a way to work out. That's his strength. To find out. So go to camps and find out what it is, because we are required as evaluators. If I'm a pro scout, I got to turn in what's wrong with you, right? I got to compare you to someone good, but I got to give your mishaps. Listen, I really like this, but I got to let you know about this. Well, find out what those are and correct them. Find out what you're good at and dominate it.
And I see that you're in Louisiana. What opportunities are there for kids that don't have means to attend camps and showcases? Like, what would be your tips for them?
Well, number one, say is potentially you're gonna have to put up some numbers at your school. That matters. Like you're gonna have to put up some. You better hit, and someone better know about you, and your team better be successful. It's hard. There's limited diamonds in the rough these days because we know about, and the world has gotten really, really small with the way we can reach out and touch to someone, just like you and I are today, right? Like 10 years ago, maybe we would have never been able to do this. And so it is an amazing thing, and technology makes the world a little smaller. But I think wherever you are able to play and perform, you better perform. I mean, if you want to be good, you can't hit 190. You can't make errors defensively. You can't get hit walk everyone when you pitch to go to the next level. Like, go get your degree. It's okay. There's something amazing for you out there. Baseball is not for everybody, and it's not meant to be for everyone. It is elite, and if you want to play with the big boys, then you have to do your part. You want to play with the big boys, you got to be in shape. You want to play with the big boys, you better be able to run. You better be able to throw. You better be able to make adjustments when something doesn't go your way. But you've got to understand, you better wait. If you're, and a lot of us are, there's only certain, I mean, that's why there's a Hall of Fame, right? There's only a few guys in there compared to how many have played. It's elite of the elite, and especially in Division. This is now with the draft going to 5 rounds, and you better get after it, because if you're an average player, this is going to get tougher and tougher and tougher. But that's what makes baseball special, and that's why there's multiple levels of it. And so just to be able to pass high school is elite. But if you can't find a way to put up some numbers, you better work out. And every day you wake up, it better be your priority. And if it's not your priority, it's okay, but don't expect more. Don't expect things to happen for you, right?
That's the truth. A lot of people sugarcoat it sometimes, and you're telling the truth right now. Do you look for players with the 3.0 to 3.5 GPA versus a player with the 4.0 GPA? This is a question I get asked a lot, so I'm going to ask you that question.
Well, I mean, first of all of them, the 3.0 to 3.5, that's awesome. In Division I, you have to have a 2.5 GPA to be eligible, to be able to get cleared by the clearinghouse. That's the minimum requirement with an 18 ACT. Some schools are different and require more of you. Am I going to make a call on a player if I'm looking at a pitcher that has a 3.5, and I don't know if that's going to be the deciding factor? They're both great students. My responsibility is to get the best player and the best teammate possible. So I think anything past a 3.0, I'm automatically like, wow. Now, if he's got a 4.0 and he smokes, of course, you absolutely, your school would be – you'd be irresponsible towards the school that you work at to not go after the guy. But it's not the deciding factor between two players. I'll say that. I got to get the best player and the best human being possible, and I don't think I'm going to let a 3.5 or a 4.0 dictate that. But they're certainly downplaying the numbers. That's kind of a tough question, but a good question.
Someone just asked, at what age or grade would you recommend a player to email coaches?
I get emails from a lot of freshmen, juniors. Sophomores. But I would say your sophomore year, 100%. If you send someone an email, like if you send me an email, the worst thing you're going to get back from me is a camp, opportunity, which is all we can do with a freshman. We can't reach out and communicate with a freshman. How do guys that are commit? So at that time, they do so at a camp. They may do so through talking through another channel. But we can use camps to communicate. But I can't actively recruit a freshman or sophomore until after that sophomore's season is over. September 1st, going into that junior year, is when I can actually call that young man. So I can't really communicate with him other than camp. And And that's why camps are important.
So if you're not interested, would you still send the camp invite?
I would, because I invite other colleges to my. I want all of our guys. I want everyone that comes to have a chance. And so I invite sometimes up to 13, 14, 15 different schools to our camps to work them and to evaluate at them. The high school exposure camps, the pitching camps, the infield camps. I invite pro scouts. So if it's not for me, for Delgado Community College. It might be for Southwest Mississippi Community College. I'm just naming a few that come to our camps routinely. I'm still bringing them here, and I'm still giving them a chance to be evaluated by everybody. So, yeah, I think that's another amazing thing about camps. No matter what, that there's usually other colleges that are working those camps.
Can you, after we're done, could you send me the information regarding the camp so I can post it out there for everyone?
Absolutely. Actually, I have a website, SethThibodeaux.com. I'll text that to you.
Yeah,
text. And it's got all of our. Hopefully in July, rolling with camps. We have them scheduled in July, and I love hands high school camps where I can go out and work with a player on my own. It's just a passion, I guess, but. Whether or not I'm working with him selfishly for me, I might be trying to see what he can do, and how he responds to what I ask him, which coachable or not. But it also might be just for me, the kid to get better. Whether or not I'm recruiting him or not, I do like when young men get better, especially if they come to our camp. I want them to get better. So I can text you that right now.
Definitely. Young players out there, if you're interested, definitely go to the camp, play in front of the coaches, give yourself a chance. Like you said, it's going to give you a better opportunity. I mean, I feel like the showcases are more throwing a wide net out and you're trying to, get fish, but the camps give you a better chance to, build a relationship. So take advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go to what specific showcases are the best to attend? Are there like ones that you go to as far as like PBR, Perfect Game, those ones? But like down where you're at, are there any other showcases that you go to that are that may not be known?
We can't go. We're very tied up as to where we can actually go. Some of them it has to be in our recruiting calendar. Some of them we have to get permission from our compliance to watch. But PBR is fantastic. Perfect Game, absolutely. Whatever we can get out. I think PBR is great. I think that they've done a great job, and they do some things on our – and so it gives us a chance to see guys in that setting. So I think they're all great, and anytime we can get our eyes on players – and we're able to get information back on them. And look, we may be, recruiting someone and we find out they're going to this, and this day might be a huge day for them in that way. Or we may not know about someone, and we go and this kid runs a 6.60 or 6.7, and he's a left-handed hitter. You're like, okay, I need to follow this kid. So we're constantly going to have names and communicate with these kids. And I honestly like them all. The PBR and the Perfect Game are two really good ones that stand out.
Are there, again, some questions about the emails and videos? So in the email, I know you're getting maybe 100, 200 probably a day. So what should they include in the email? Is it just quick, hey, 2 to 3 sentences? Hey, I'm Jermaine Curtis. My exit velo is this. I run 60-yard this. How would you go about as far as the email goes? And then the video, what do you look for as far as pitcher, infielder, and outfielder? Just quick rundown.
Absolutely. I would say it doesn't have to be a lot. If you want a resume, do it as an attachment. But the quick email, look, first and foremost, spell check, right? Don't misspell the school or the coach's name. I think that we all kind of look at that when, as coaches – behind closed doors, we laugh at that and say, he can't even spell our school right. Well, you know what? That probably is important, but it's part of your resume. And so it tells you a little bit. So, spell check it. And number 2, just know, Coach, I'm at this school. I read up as really, love this about your school. And that catches my eye. Like, I love your business school. Oh, awesome. You did research. You're not just, throwing your name out there and see what sticks, right? Well, listen, coach, I play here. Our team did this, and I was able to, hit 340 this year with 8 homers and 25 stolen bases, whatever it may be. Here is a link to my YouTube, me playing catch, me playing some defense, catching some grounders, whatever it may be, or me in the cages. And then if you want to leave a little resume on the side, that's fine, but it doesn't have to be a full-fledged loan. Because, look, sometimes we're getting 100 of them a day, especially now, and you're just not going to – we don't really have time to search through all this and get everything done. I would be quick with it and to the point and pop somebody's eye with something, but be very organized and professional with it. It's a resume.
So would you just say the email and the video is just to see if there's interest, or should they try to sell themselves?
I wouldn't. I think you can sell yourself by being simple. I don't think that going through a full 3 or 4 paragraph deal and throwing your heart out there is going to do it, honestly. But I think that trying to sell yourself with video more than anything would probably be pretty good. If you don't have great video, then your content may be powerful, but keeping it simple and short, I think, is critical. Because, look, not every coach gets an email and looks at it. They delete them right away. I don't like that. I want to at least get something out of them for taking their time to reach out to our school.
So let's go to when it comes to scholarships, because I'm getting asked that question as well. Do players actually get a full ride? Is it a year-to-year basis? Is it every other year? Is it a mixture between academic, financial aid, and baseball? Yeah. And what would a player most likely receive? I know that certain schools, they're only getting a percentage. So what about your school? Like, how does it go?
So now more than ever, things are going to be different, right? Because of what happened with this pandemic, roster sizes. We have a 35-man roster. Well, I have to turn that roster in 24 hours before the season starts. So if I want to bring 100 kids on our team, which I would never do, then I can. But I don't have room for that, nor do I want to do that. I want to keep it at 35 to 40 max. Only 27 of those players can be on baseball scholarship. And of that 27, I have 11.7 scholarships in NCAA Division to finagle. It's a minimum scholarship of 20%. So at my school, 25% is $5,000. Because a full scholarship at Nicholls State University for an out-of-state student is $20,000. Now, I don't have anyone's number. Those numbers jump around, right? And I don't think people understand that. There are no full rides in division. Honestly, unless you're a 3.5 student or better, we can stack academic money only if you're a 3.5 to a 4.0. Then you can get academic money from the university. You can create some things. If there was a 2 student that we recruited or a 3.0 student, and he tried to stack scholarship money, all that stacking counts against our 11.7. So we can't do that. We have 11.7 scholarships to divide between 27 players, and you have guys that can be on the roster that are not on baseball money. So academics do matter, and it's critical. And next year we won't have a 35-man roster because the seniors play. And in addition to the other players, so the rosters will be a little bit bigger. But that number is tough, man. If you get a Division I offer, you're in the absolute most elite minority because it's not there. It's hard. And full rides are non-existent in our sport.
I'm gonna just ask a few more questions and I'll let you go. I see your family is getting all going, so let you get out of here real quick. But let me open it up. I just have one question as far as the COVID-19 situation, the pandemic. How does that affect the recruiting? And what are you guys doing as far as what might be the new stage? I mean, you may not even have this answer, but as far as like what is the new game? Is it through video like this? Is it through, just touch up on that a little bit.
It's so difficult, man, because it's so many new normals for us now. awkwardly enough, we're going to have all these guys have redshirted, right? So right now, we have 41 players on our team, which we're in good shape. I had 11 seniors this year, and everyone's impacted differently. And now but 6 are returning because of those 11. 5 of those guys are going, one of them is medical school, one's going to be a lawyer, one's going to chiropractor school. Like, they have professional things ahead of them, and it's not professional baseball, and they've come to that realization. But the 6 that are able to come back need to come back because there's still some growth to them. There's still some academic success to them. Why am I saying this? Because everyone's rosters in Division I are going to be stockpiled. Not to mention, well, there ain't no 20 rounds. So all these players that are going like in the 9th round and signing for $100,000, that ain't happening. You're going to have top 5 rounders turning down the draft this year. There's only 5 rounds. So all those players are staying in Division I baseball. There's 42 organizations that have been cut out of minor league baseball. Minor league baseball is almost coming to an end. And Rob Manfred, and why am I saying this is because all those players that were sneaking into pro baseball and probably should have went to college, they ain't going to pro baseball. Now that has to be elite of the elite, right? 5 rounds is not a lot of rounds of baseball. Look, one of my best friends is the bench coach for the Padres, and he tells me all the time, listen, they're right. I love minor league baseball, but 50% of our organization is there to put a uniform on so that the other 50% can try to make it to the big leagues. And, they're wanting to cut that out because they're wasting money. Well, Rob Manfred thinks college baseball is minor league baseball. And he's probably right. Just like college football is minor league football for NFL football, right? So why is this long story happening is because there's a trickle-down effect. Now all of a sudden, all these guys that should be playing or would have been playing pro ball the last 20 years in the 40th round, those guys are now pitching against your team on Tuesday nights in a midweek game. How does that matter? Well, the tweener guys, they're losing out on this opportunity. The guy that was 82, 83 miles an hour that might have been able to been developed in 2 or 3 years is losing that opportunity. So, yes, and now we can't recruit until the NCAA told us on Thursday that we probably won't be able to recruit until – man, you need to send some video out there, right? That's the best way we can do it right now. And email video and email and email and email. And if someone responds to you, don't just hold yourself. Like, if you're a great player, we're going to know. We're going to see it in one swing. I'm going to see it in watching your arm work. If you're a marginal player, I got to go to – he's a B-level player. There's millions of B-level players. It's okay, but don't limit yourself to a certain level. Like, get it out there. There might be a Division III school in this world that has your future wife at it, that has your future master's degree at it, and your future job might come from that school. This decision is a 50-year decision, not a 2 or 3 or 4-year decision. It's a 50-year decision that impacts you forever. And so go find that place. I played at an NAIA school. It was the greatest thing I ever did because I kept fighting to be that walk-on at a Division I school and could have just been one of those guys, or I can go somewhere and that's really where I was supposed to be. That was where my ability and wanted. And I met who has played softball at that school, and now we have 2 beautiful kids. And thank God that I went there because it impacted my life. Go to the school that impacts your life, not because you want to tell your buddies you went to a certain school. This game's hard. It requires a lot, and you have to know that going into it, and you have to know that a lot of sacrifice in this. So anyway, I can get rambling. I'm so sorry.
No,
I enjoy it.
Keep going. No, I'm trying to be cautious of your time. So
don't worry about me. I can go. I can go.
I just got another question. It said, just today I saw that Bowling Green cut their baseball program because of the pandemic. Do you see more colleges following this?
Not many, because baseball is really not that expensive of a sport. I mean, again, it's 11.7 scholarships. And so not every school has a full allotment of that 11.7, and we can fundraise to do some things. Do I think there will be more? There'll be a couple more that are thinking about it, like it's bothering them. They're thinking about it, and then boom, they get rid of it. There's, by the pandemic, Division ones that slowly drop out, and when they drop out, another door opens for another school. I hate that Bowling Green had to do that.
Yeah,
it's
that's
tough.
terrible. Yeah,
those players, it just hurts, And I don't know the answers to it, athletic direction, but I will say there'll be a couple. But I wouldn't look for this huge domino effect. I don't see that happening. There might be a few, but basically, the other sport knows how to survive because look, your coaches know how to cut their own grass and work on their own field. So we know how to go out and get a few dollars to make it work, and we can make it happen. And so that's why I think it's a very strong and powerful sport, and it can impact you in a positive way forever.
Let me open it up to a few people. James, what's going on?
Hello. Hi, Coach. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you? What's your question?
So my first question, I have a couple, if that's okay.
Sure.
So my first question would be, what sort of things do you look for in catchers during the recruiting process?
Like footwork, body. I like the arm strength. I like a workhorse back there. I love the body language and energy. Your leader. He's a war daddy. He sees everybody. Everybody's backs are turned out for the wall, and he's facing everybody in a different way. And so, what's the first thing you look at as a teammate is you look behind the plate, and you got to be able to handle more than anybody else. You got to be able to handle the grind. You got to be able to handle the coaching staff on you all the time. You get it more than anybody. You get beat up more than anybody, but you love it more than anybody. And so, but from an ability standpoint, arm strength has to matter. How you catch a baseball absolutely matters. Can you keep it in the strike zone? Your glove efficiency, your footwork, your feet and knees work. Sometimes I look at big catchers or physical catchers. You want to like them, but then when they squat down, you're like, holy smokes, how am I going to get this out of them? So that flex body, the arm strength, and the ability to lead, I think are critical. Could care less if you can hit or not. I need you to. It's one of the best staffs in the country. And so turning balls into strikes with glove efficiency is critical. You got to control the running game. You better be able to throw somebody out. And because I can't always depend on our pitchers, right? Sometimes they're going to be a one play. They back there better be able to throw somebody out in a 1-9 or 2 flat, which is extremely difficult to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And my other question would be, is there something that you look for specifically, such as like plate discipline or something that affect when you're looking for hitters when you're recruiting?
Yeah, 100%. A guy that knows the strike zone, that's the hardest thing in the world to sometimes teach someone. Yeah, absolutely. Foot control. Can your feet stay connected as a hitter? Do you have strength? Do you understand how to hit with your groin? Do you understand hand strength, bat speed? Absolutely. If you know the zone, 100%, that is a win. And you know that. I can see that by watching you play and forward bats. Facing pitchers, I know if you know what you're looking for. I know if you know if it's a strike or not. I know what you're doing with 2 strikes. Like if you get the strike zone, I think that slaps you in the recruiter that he understands the zone. And if I'm a pro scout, I'm writing that down right away.
Thank you. Yeah.
Great questions, Jay.
Great questions. Awesome questions. That's awesome.
Great player, by the way. He wants it too. AM. AM, can you speak up?
Yeah. So I just have one question. You touched on this a little bit when you were talking about energy and things like that, but how important is it to you, the type of teammate someone is, the way they interact with their coaches, team, umpires, et cetera, stuff like that?
Critical. I don't think that any of us want to coach someone that's not like that. And we can't create a team full of that. Sometimes we have one or two, and you usually have a captain on your team or a senior class that corrects for. We all go through that stage of growing up and understanding. I mean, it's growth. But someone that can't control it, right? Like when you speak to a parent of the recruit and he defends the kid all the time, then it's like, wow, this is never going to change. So I think that great teammates are extremely important, and those are some of the guys you want around all the time because they're usually the glue. Like, you want to win championships, you better have glue guys that are great teammates that when they're on the bench, they're more impactful than they would be on the field. Those things matter, and I want everybody to play, and everyone wants to play, but you do know there's positions on the field at once, and there's 35 guys in the dugout, so it better be right. Great teammates matter. I think it's critical. I think how you handle things, how you handle failure, your body language, all those things are critical, and they're absolutely important.
Thank you.
Great question, AM. Another really good player right there. Another really good player.
That's all.
Oh, okay.
Where are you guys? Where are these guys from?
Rochester, New York.
That's cool.
Yeah, Rochester, New York. All right, just a few more questions. I'll let you get out of here. I know you're getting antsy, and everyone back there is starting to move. So just one or two, and I'll let you go. Did I miss anything? I'm looking on the question board. All the parents are asking me questions. Yeah, let's talk about the parents. All right, they're at a showcase. What is their job? What would you think their job is as far as like at a showcase? How can they help their kid, to get recruited? Because I know you were saying stuff about the player reaching out. So as far as like what is the parents' job in the situation? Are they there just to network? And then as far as showcase, how should they act? I know I just threw like 3 or 4 questions on you, but I just thought about that right now.
I think parents are critical because for us, we don't want to, like nowadays, we have this huge fear of, well, how is this? Because if they act a little different, then they accept and allow him to act. He's going to act the way, sometimes that is the case. A lot of times it is the case. Is it unfair or not? I mean, parents get coaches fired in high school, which is scary, So I think that we have a fear as coaches in Division I, college in general, of, man, look at his parent, everything you need to know, So you love the parents to just stay away, honestly. And that's just honesty. I would think that, just be there in support. The understanding parent, knowing that, listen, like less than 2% of players ever make it, less than 3% of players ever make it to Division I baseball in the United States, and less than 2% make it to pro ball, and less than 1% make it to the big leagues. It's just the percentages are crazy. So, and we only get to do this for a few years. It's like my nephew who's a college player now. I remember telling him 5 years ago, listen to me, like, you do know that in 10 years you're not going to be playing baseball. So everything else that you do matters. You need to handle you because there's going to be an end. And these 4 years in college fly. And so we're trying to find an investment. I want an investment from the family too, of teach and being coachable. And like, I don't want involvement from the family in the player. I want them to be a support system. I want them to support our team and our players, but I don't want, when I recruit Joe Seth, and he goes home and tells his parents everything that happened in practice, like, at what point do we grow into men? So I like a little bit of a hands-off personally and that's really the norm from all of talking, hands-off from the parents, be a support system for them, let them fail. I mean, Michael Jordan's mother said it best in this new documentary, right? When he was a sophomore and didn't make it, like, okay, go work harder. It's not the coach's fault. And I think we've turned into a generation of, man, it's the coach this, the coach that. It's not the coach. The coach don't make enough money to deal with all that. Be a support system for your player and tell him, I think tough love is critical and lost. But I loved when just hearing that from, hey, then you better go work. And then he put a basketball in his hand every single day for a year. He got bigger, faster, stronger, and had a chip on his shoulder. And, okay, he's the greatest player ever. This greatest player ever didn't make the basketball his freshman and sophomore year of high school. Is that crazy? No, I think a support system. Be a support system for your child when he, regardless if it's good or not. Like, remember, just relax. we only get to do this for so long. And when you're 24, you have to start life, and so enjoy it with it. Be stern with them, help them grow, teach them to be men. That matters more than how far you can hit a baseball. We'll know if you can play or not. Just hands off as far as letting them grow. I'm sorry, this is my little girl, Blake. She likes to hit baseballs too. I say, hey, Blake. I take care of her, so I got to stop.
It kind of froze.
On the right. I lost you for a second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what'd you say? I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry. I lost you for a second. I froze up. But I support system from the parents. And look, on the flip side of that, I'll share a great story with you. Like sometimes parents can be there, and I think this is a support system. We had a player that's coming to us from another Division I school where it didn't work, and he's international. And my wife is international, and they're literally from the same area. And this young man screwed up this year, not off the field problems. He didn't fail a drug test. He didn't have a DUI, didn't do anything unprofessional to a female, nothing like that. He fell below a 2.5 for the first time in his life. School became too hard for him. That university had to take his scholarship from him, right, because of where he was at academically and where we're at as a pandemic. They had to take his money from him. And I would have never known about him had his dad not reached out to me. So on the flip side of that support system, the young man didn't know what to do. He goes into the transfer portal. He doesn't want to go Division II, and he shouldn't. He's a great player. He's a big physical left-handed hitter. Well, the dad reached out to me and said, listen, I just want you to know that I think my son would really like to go to your school, but this is what happened. This is where he's at. And I just want you to know that I'm just so intrigued with your, business school there. I'm like, okay, a Canadian that's pretty neat, right? We talked about it a while ago, a real quick email. I see that he went to Brown University and played hockey there in the mid-90s. So I'm like, let me do some research on this. Sure enough, one of my assistants had seen him play in junior college in Iowa a few years ago and loved him. And so I responded to the dad like, okay. So we do a little research, find some things out about him. But if he had a good resume, like he was a known, really good physical left-handed hitter, had a great 1 year in junior college, was a really good at his academy in Canada. But the fact of the matter is the dad reached out to me the way he did, and it was very professional, and it wasn't trying to sell him out. It was just kind of like, hey, I just want you to know this. And I read that, and it was literally 3 or 4 sentences, and the way it was presented to me was like, I'm going to look into this. And then I called the dad out of the blue, and I interviewed the dad. And I just remember, like, when I called him, I was like, I'm thinking this may never work. I just wanted to see with the dad how he would handle it. It was the most respectful conversation and uplifting conversation for me because he was so appreciative that I even took the time to call him, and he was respectful. And he wasn't trying to sell his son. He's like, look, he's a left-handed hitter. He can hit. He's in an unfortunate situation. I did my research on your school. I fell in love with some things about it. I've heard about you, and I think that this might be a great fit. And it is. I think it is. The kid signed a scholarship with us, and it just worked. And so sometimes it is. That's support system to me. And but the dad was like, I was honest with him, and this is all we have financially. And the dad was honest with me, and the young man fell in love with it. And I think he learned something at the age of 20 about a lot of things. But my thing to the dad was I was able to tell the dad, this is a loyalty thing. I'm going to take care of your son. He's going to get his degree here. We're going to work hard here. We have structure here. I'm not really a BS kind of guy. I like things done a certain way, but I believe in hard work, and I believe in discipline, and I believe in kids overachieving because of that. And we need to overachieve to get to Omaha. And so I would love for your son to come here, but you have to know that it's me and him now, and it's not me and you. And you can intervene when the time's right, but let your kid grow. And so he was pumped about it. He's like, yes, sir, you'll never hear from me again. I said, no, I want to. I want to shake your hand on graduation day when we're giving them a diploma. And I want to high-five you on the way off the field when we win this conference championship. Like, I want to give you a hug and say we did this for your son, And so those things matter, and that's just, I guess it's just a view more than a great answer. Maybe it's just a view of how my everyday life goes and how things happen, and the parents. And I'm scared sometimes. I'm scared to let my kids play sports, and my wife and I were both college athletes, because I fear my brother was a coach at a high school in Lafayette, Louisiana, and he was a national coach of the year. He's won 6 state titles in 12 years. And he cut a kid, and his parents went and complained to the priest, and the priest didn't renew my brother's scholarship. I mean, he didn't renew him as the head coach. Basically, he got fired. And he's a very faithful man, a church-going man, and runs a first-class program. He's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame right away as the head coach and Louisiana head coach. But that entitlement and that the daddy ball system won. And it's unfortunate, because 95% of the parents at the high school were like, what are you doing to our kids? Your kid wasn't good enough to make the team. He screwed up in the classroom, and the loud minority wins right here. And it's unfortunate. So I'm careful and cautious. We've been scarred by parents before. And I just want them to grow, because I know my mom and dad, I wanted to play college baseball and I wanted to coach. And my dad was more of a hands-on, hardworking kind of guy that ran a business, and we had a family business. And he was kind of along the lines of, listen, you can go to college, you can play baseball, but the first time you complain about anything about the coach or anything, your rear end's coming to work for me. And so he always told me that the coach is an extension of him. Don't you dare open your mouth to that coach. It's always yes or no, sir, please, and thank you. And so unfortunately, that's just the way I was raised. And so, but I think as a respect thing for coaches, I always looked at coaches as, oh my God, I get to play for that guy. And I don't think that happens much anymore. We tend to blame those guys and think that there's something they're not. And really, we're human beings, but trying to make a living just the same as you would. And look, as a joke that I hope everyone can hear or listen and take as a joke, I always joke with parents, I don't go sit in your doctor's office and tell you how to treat patients, so you don't come sit in my office and tell me how to run my organization, right? Because everyone in this world knows how to be a coach, because we've coached at some point. We know everything about baseball, and we really don't. Or but it's a joke, and I love that. And we as coaches say it all the time, hey man, I don't go to your design group and tell you how to draw up plans for a project. So don't come tell us how to run bases. We'll get it. Yeah, that's a piece of joke. It's not being too harsh.
I know they'll get that. They'll get it's a joke. Well, again, I appreciate you giving so much of your time, telling some stories. I think you're going to have several players here that are going to be reaching out soon because of all the wisdom you dropped. I know if you guys are just watching this right now, you dropped a lot of wisdom. So imagine if you go to the school and you're with him for that 4 years and he has your back. He's fighting for you. He's helping you get your degree. I mean, you're going to come out smarter, stronger, better than you were when you just went in. And that's all it was about, is growing. And I know that as a player myself, went to UCLA, and how Coach Savage helped me to get to where I'm at today. I'm just very thankful of the situation. And I know that when I'm listening to him speak, it reminds me of my coach and how I would play or want to play with him. So I appreciate you again giving your time. I know your family's running around, so it's time for you to get out of here. And again, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. It was a treat. And I just want to maybe finish with, if you want to play college baseball and get your degree, there's a place for you in this world. You may have to travel, but don't have boundaries in your life. Go where you need to go, because you have no idea that there may be a pot of gold waiting for you there. Don't sell yourself short, and if it's not Division I, don't stop going. It doesn't mean you're not a good player. Now more than ever, there's avenues, and those avenues can take you to so many amazing places. So don't stop chasing, because I met my future wife doing it, right? And I have 2 wonderful kids now because of it. And I would recommend just go, don't stop going, and don't limit yourself. And the great things will happen for you. Thank you so much.
One more thing, because it just popped in my head as you were speaking. This is my last question for you. I'm going to flip it on you. You're sitting in front of a college coach, all right? what one question would you ask him? And if you went back, what is the one question you would ask?
It would probably not have anything to do with ability. You're saying after my career, or if I'm a player right now?
If you're a player, say go back in time, you're playing, and now everything that you know now as being a head coach, if we're flipping this, what's the one question you would ask?
Coach, do you trust me to be a leader? 100%. Me as a coach, always want to have trust between a player. And when I say leader, I mean, do you trust that I'm the hardest working player? Do you trust me when I'm off the field? Do you trust me as a player? Do you talk bad about me or question what I'm doing away from the field? Because I always wanted to please my coach with trust. And I always want to please my players with trust. I think that's and letting them trust that I'm working my rear end off with them all the time. So I would always want to know, Coach, do you trust me to lead this team because I am a leader and I can do it? Or do you trust that you really believe I'm the hardest worker? Do you think I'm the hardest worker on this team? Is probably the second question I would ask. Because if I wasn't, I would take that personal. And I think, why would I take it personal? Because I'm one of 8 kids and I have 4 brothers. And I have a father and a mother who would always tell me, don't you dare let someone outwork you. And so that always scared the crap out of me. Like my dad would always say, I don't care what don't impress anyone with your words. Impress someone with your work ethic. Make them look at the way you work and say, holy Christ, that guy can work. And so I would want to know if my coach trusted that or believed that I was the hardest working player. And if he trusted me to be a leader, because those things matter to me more than anything.
Great answer. Again, thank you. If you guys want to go to the website, SethThibbaseball.com. I apologize.
That's okay.
So, yeah, we want to go there. I'm going to post it so that you guys will be able to watch this or click on it and go to the website. So, but yeah, thank you for your time. And
yes.
I appreciate
any infielders any infielders in your group?
Yeah.
I'm going to share another website with you. I wrote an infield manual that has been really kind of getting popular lately. And I did it during this pandemic. Actually to try to make a few dollars for a couple of my assistant coaches that weren't on any salary. And, but it's an amazing manual, and it's one that can be used by a 12-year-old, an 18-year-old, or a big leaguer. It's stuff that I have very close friends in the big leagues and college and at all levels. And so I'll share that with you. It's infieldcentral.com. And video, it's got content, and it's got a manual that anyone would love to have the information there. And it's literally $9 or $10. So it's a steal. And and all that money I'm trying to raise it for our coaches.
So all you young players out there, I mean, you're at home, you're trying to get yourself better. You're going to be playing soon. Go to this website. You know, it's only $9. Get these drills, start working on it. He talked about footwork basically the entire time. So work on it, get the information that you need, and get yourself better. You know, you're right around the corner from being out there and from the showcases and the camps. And so, take advantage of this time. You know, he talked about a person that will adapt and find a way. If you're a player that wants to play at the college level, you'll find a way. I know that in my situation, I didn't have as much means but I was out there throwing the ball against the wall, learning how to hit, hitting tennis balls, hitting wiffle balls. And I did the best I could. So if you could, you have this opportunity, go get the information. It's right there for you. And it's elite information. You already know this because his teams are ranked in pitching, ranked in defense, ranked in hitting, nationally ranked. And so the information's all there for you. So go and check it out. Get yourself better so you can move forward in your dreams. And, like he said a while ago he was talking about you're going to end your career soon. And I was in like 10 years. And I'm thinking about that because I'm like at the end of mine. And I was like, man, it happened so fast. So take advantage every single day. go after it because, again, it's going – I mean, I was fortunate enough to get drafted high and then continue to play and make it to the major leagues. And I played 12 years, so it's going to happen fast. So go ahead, take advantage, guys, and keep pushing forward. Again, thank you, Coach.
I really appreciate you having me, and I think this time is a blessing. I had a player tell me, one of my seniors who his career was ended because of this, tell me, Coach, this didn't happen to us, it happened for us. And so I think that's a wonderful way to look at this, and maybe it's happened for us because we'll get some hard work and old school mindset back in us, because that's what the game requires and demands. And maybe this was going to force guys, like you said, to play wall ball, to hit wiffle balls, to play wiffle ball in the backyard, to play paddle ball. It forces skill. It forces you to get outside and do something instead of being locked up all day. So I think it's a wonderful thing, and in time we'll appreciate it when the time is right. And it's hard to go through, but let's just stay positive and keep driving forward and keep chasing your dreams. Don't let anyone stop you from getting where you want to go. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I'll be sending you a text message pretty soon.
Sounds great.
All right, guys.
I'll come back anytime.
Yeah, we would like to have you in a few months to see what's the update.
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jermaine.